There is a lie you have been told your entire life, whispered into your ears by society, tradition, and even the quiet voice of your own fear. It insists that to find your purpose, you must reject the flawed, the broken, and the dark parts of yourself. That you must relentlessly strive to be a creature of light, spotless and untainted by shadows. But what if this pursuit of perfection is not the key to your purpose, but the very barrier preventing you from uncovering it? Carl Jung, the great visionary of the human psyche, dared to propose a truth so profound, so unsettling, that it still resonates like a thunderclap in the realms of self-discovery. Your purpose lies not in the absence of darkness, but in your willingness to embrace it. Your shadow, those aspects of yourself you deny, suppress, or fear, holds the very essence of your truest self. Jung called it the hidden treasure of the psyche, a reservoir of untapped power and forgotten potential. To confront the shadow is not to succumb to it, but to integrate it, to weave its energy into the fabric of your being. What if I told you that the struggles you face, the doubts that gnaw at your soul, and the fears you flee are not your enemies but the signposts pointing directly toward your destiny? This revelation is not for the faint-hearted, but for those ready to rise above the illusions of perfection and step boldly into the transformative fire of self-realization. There is something revolutionary about understanding that the path to purpose is not paved with achievements alone, but with moments of deep self-reflection, raw honesty, and courageous integration of what you once sought to deny. Perhaps you have felt it too, that haunting sense that no matter how much you strive to fit into the molds created by others, you remain incomplete. Perhaps you sense that the more you deny your flaws, the more they seem to grow in the shadows, whispering truths you are afraid to hear. But within those whispers lies the very roadmap to your greatness. This journey is not without its trials. To meet the shadow is to face the parts of yourself that you have disowned, to gaze into the abyss without flinching. But beyond that confrontation lies a revelation so powerful it can rewrite the story of your existence. Imagine the strength, the authenticity, and the clarity that could arise when you are no longer at war with yourself. This is the promise of Carl Jung's wisdom, that by embracing the shadow, you do not become weaker but stronger, more whole, more aligned with the truth of who you are meant to be. This is no ordinary path. It requires a kind of courage that many avoid, but that you, as one seeking deeper truths, cannot ignore. If you've ever felt like something is missing, that you are standing on the edge of something immense yet elusive, then what comes next will shake the foundations of what you thought you knew about yourself. The shadow is not your enemy. It is your guide. The time to uncover this truth and align with your purpose is now. Let us walk together into this uncharted territory, where your fears transform into power and your doubts become the stepping stones to your ultimate destiny. Deep within the intricate labyrinth of the human psyche lies the concept of the shadow. Jung described it as the unlit corners of our being, the aspects of ourselves we reject, suppress, or ignore because they do not conform to who we believe we should be. Society, with its rigid expectations, demands we wear personas, masks that obscure the truth of our inner complexity. These masks, or personas, are not inherently evil. They allow us to navigate social structures and find belonging. Yet, the greater the light cast by the persona, the darker and more treacherous the shadow it creates. The shadow is not merely a collection of sins, failures, or shameful acts. It is an amalgamation of all that you have banished to the recesses of your mind, desires unspoken, talents unrealized, and even virtues that defy societal norms. It is where your raw, unfiltered potential resides, waiting for acknowledgement and integration. Jung insisted that what we resist persists, and thus the shadow, when ignored, takes on monstrous proportions. It influences your thoughts, actions, and relationships, often without your conscious awareness. To integrate the shadow is not to become perfect, but to become whole, to reclaim the pieces of yourself that have been unjustly cast aside. The persona and the shadow form an eternal dance, a duality that defines the human experience. Your persona is the mask you present to the world, the curated identity designed to earn acceptance. But what happens when the persona becomes too rigid, too afraid to falter? It suffocates the truth, driving your shadow into rebellion. This is why so many people experience an existential void. They have become strangers to themselves. The further you stray from your shadow, the more fragmented your sense of self becomes, until every achievement feels hollow and every moment of joy fleeting. Jung's insights into the shadow are a call to awaken. He does not ask you to dismantle the persona or surrender to the chaos of the shadow. Instead, he invites you to bring both into harmony, to recognize that neither is complete without the other. By confronting the shadow, you claim the power to direct its energy rather than be consumed by it. This is the essence of individuation, the process by which you become the fullest expression of your true self, unburdened by denial or pretense. It is not a simple process. The shadow does not yield its treasures easily, and the deeper you delve, the more resistance you may encounter. But every fragment of the shadow you reclaim strengthens your sense of self. It is here, in this delicate balance between light and dark, that your purpose begins to emerge. The shadow does not obscure your essence. It reveals it in all its depth, complexity, and beauty. The question is not whether the shadow exists, it always has, but whether you will heed its call and step into the fullness of your being. The path to integrating the shadow is as transformative as it is challenging. It begins with acknowledgement, a simple yet profound act of turning toward the parts of yourself you have long avoided. Most people spend their lives running from their shadow, distracting themselves with external pursuits to escape the discomfort of introspection. But when you pause and confront the shadow, you take the first step toward liberation. This work demands honesty. It requires you to confront the mirror of your soul and see yourself as you truly are, not as you wish to be, nor as others perceive you. Reflection becomes your most powerful tool, a daily practice of examining your thoughts, behaviors, and reactions to uncover the shadow's influence. You may uncover anger where you expected peace, envy where you believed there was contentment, or longing where you assumed there was satisfaction. Each revelation, though uncomfortable, brings you closer to the truth. Integration does not mean succumbing to the shadow's impulses, but transforming them. For example, anger, when acknowledged and understood, becomes a source of strength and assertiveness. Fear, once faced, becomes courage. Even traits society deems negative can hold immense value when wielded with consciousness. Jung emphasized that the shadow, when integrated, becomes a source of immense creative power and authenticity. It ceases to control you from the depths of your unconscious and instead becomes a vital force in your journey towards self-realization. This process is not linear. You will face setbacks, moments when the shadow seems too vast or too terrifying to confront. But remember, growth is not about perfection but persistence. Each time you choose to face the shadow, you reclaim a part of yourself. Each act of integration strengthens your essence and brings you closer to discovering your sacred purpose. The rewards of this journey cannot be overstated. By integrating your shadow, you break free from the patterns and fears that have kept you tethered to a smaller version of yourself. You unlock a wellspring of energy, creativity, and authenticity that propels you toward your destiny. The shadow, once seen as an adversary, becomes your greatest ally in the pursuit of a life rich with meaning and purpose. As the shadow reveals itself, the question arises, what now? Recognition is only the beginning. The shadow, when unearthed, demands not passive observation but decisive action. Jung understood that the path to purpose lies not in contemplation alone but in the courage to act, to confront the fears, patterns, and illusions that have held you captive. Each step you take toward integrating the shadow is a declaration of sovereignty over your own destiny. This is where the theoretical transforms into the tangible, where understanding becomes transformation. Action requires a conscious partnership between your shadow and your will. To act upon the truths revealed by the shadow means facing the uncomfortable, stepping into vulnerability, and resisting the pull of old habits that have kept you confined. These are not grandiose acts of heroism, but small, deliberate steps taken every day. Choosing to set boundaries, express your authentic needs, or pursue a dream long buried in fear are all forms of shadow work in motion. These actions, though subtle, ripple outward, reshaping the fabric of your life and your connection to the world around you. In action, the shadow becomes a source of unparalleled strength. Where once it sabotaged your efforts, now it fuels your resolve. The anger you once denied becomes the fire that propels you to demand justice. The fear that paralyzed you transforms into the caution that tempers your boldness. Every facet of the shadow, once destructive in its repression, becomes constructive in its integration. This alchemy of action and awareness transforms you from a seeker into a creator, from a victim of circumstance into the architect of your fate. Purpose is not a destination. It is the ongoing process of becoming. Many seek purpose in external achievements, mistaking milestones for meaning. But Jung's wisdom reveals that purpose arises not from what you do, but from how authentically you live. It is found in the depth of your relationships, the integrity of your choices, and the courage to live in alignment with your truest self. Purpose is not something you find. It is something you create, moment by moment, through the conscious integration of all aspects of your being. This integration is not merely personal, but profoundly universal. When you align with your purpose, you contribute to the harmony of the greater whole. Each act of authenticity and courage inspires others to embark on their own journeys. In this way, the work you do with your shadow becomes a beacon, illuminating a path not only for yourself but for those around you. By stepping into your purpose, you do not simply transform your life, you elevate the collective consciousness of humanity itself. To understand your purpose, you must embrace a truth that defies the simplicity of light versus dark, good versus evil. Life is a tapestry woven from dualities: joy and sorrow, triumph and failure, light and shadow. To seek only the light is to reject half of your existence. It is in the interplay of these opposites that meaning is born. Jung's philosophy calls upon you to embrace this duality, to see not contradiction but harmony in the coexistence of seemingly opposing forces. Consider the moments of your greatest growth. Were they born in times of ease and comfort, or did they emerge from the crucible of challenge and pain? It is through struggle that you learn resilience, through loss that you appreciate love, and through failure that you cultivate wisdom. The shadow is not a separate entity but an integral part of this duality, a mirror that reflects the fullness of who you are. To integrate it is to embrace the totality of your being, to see beauty not only in your strengths but in your flaws, not only in your light but in your darkness. This is the paradox of purpose. It is not found in perfection but in wholeness. By accepting the dual nature of your existence, you unlock a depth of meaning that transcends the superficial. The life you create when you honor this duality is not free from hardship, but it is rich with authenticity and grounded in truth. It is a life where every experience, whether joyous or painful, serves to deepen your connection to your essence and to the world around you. You now stand on the threshold of transformation, armed with the knowledge that your shadow is not your enemy but your guide. The time to act is now, to move beyond theory and step into the sacred work of integrating all that you are. Begin by embracing your fears, examining your patterns, and taking bold, conscious steps toward the life you are meant to live. The journey will not always be easy, but it will be worth it. If this resonates with you, take a moment to reflect on what you have learned. Share your thoughts in the comments below and join the conversation. Your insights could inspire someone else to begin their journey. Subscribe to this channel and activate the notifications so you don't miss the next step in this transformative exploration. Share this video with someone who needs to hear this message, someone who may be standing at the same crossroads as you. The shadow has brought you here, and its whispers will guide you still. You are not alone in this journey. Together, we uncover truths, dismantle fears, and build lives rich with meaning and purpose. Watch the video recommended on the screen now, where we delve even deeper into the wisdom of Jung and the transformative power of self-discovery. Take this step. The path awaits.